Welcome to this episode of the podcast, live with the Managed Service Provider Association of America. Today's guest, Jeb Reynolds from Centuric. Jeb, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Good to be here.
You're tuning in live from sunshiny Florida, which is much warmer and less rainy than here it is in Toronto. Give us a
Yes.
background story of Centuric.
Yes. Well, just to touch on what you said right there, I'm from New England, and after 30 some years of living in the cold, I decided sunshiny Florida would be a good move for me. So here I am now, and I'm not going back. Anyway, Centuric, I've been with the company for about a year and a half now. Career tech sales background, a lot of telecom, working with managed service providers, but never for one. I decided to leave telecom and go to work for an IT company because I saw that that's where sort of a lot of the IT companies sort of held a lot of the relationships that were necessary to really build a profile and a business. Centuric has been in business since 2001, so they are one of the longest operating IT companies here in South Florida. The original founding partners are still here, our CEO and CISO. And what's interesting and what I think makes what led me to choose to work for Centuric was that tenure, that longevity, the experience. The CISO he was a CIO for Renaissance Cruise Lines in the 90s, which was 10 or 15 years before I even ever heard of a CIO. So experience and expertise are what made me go to Centuric, and I think what makes us the best provider here in South Florida.
Very cool. That's a unique blend of experience doing cruise line IT.
Way back in the 90s. Again, I don't even think I knew what IT was back then. I'd barely heard of the internet by now. So
Sending facts.
when I was still figuring out, how to get online, he was already building networks to go on cruise ships to go around the world. So where I come from in New England, we call guys like him wicked smart.
Excellent. That's got to be a little name tag you get as a gift. Well, I love your job title because usually one of the questions that I ask on these shows is like, we're not in the IT business, we're in the relationship business, and you're coming out headstrong with it as your job title. So tell us where that came from. Did you choose it? Was that an existing role at Centuric?
It was not. They did not have anyone who did what I do for a long time. But it's relationship manager means that I am in charge of raising the profile and building relationships within the community, but also managing the relationships with the customers that we have. So I did get to choose it. There was not a title waiting for me when I arrived at Centuric, and my boss, the CEO, and I talked about that. And it makes the most sense because a lot of what I do is business development and marketing, but also a lot of what I do is take care of and serve our existing customers. So it seemed a little more all-encompassing to say relationship manager.
Give us a fun case study of like how you embody that. Maybe like a client transformation that you want to talk about where you were their side by side partner, building the relationship with them instead of just serving them with IT.
Sure. We are members of an organization down here called the South Florida Manufacturers Association. We have several customers who are manufacturers, and so we joined the association soon after I got to Centuric about a year and a half ago. And I just started joining their committees. I started getting to know the staff and all of their ambassadors and board members, and never really thought about trying to actually get the association's business itself. But we play golf. I go to all their meetings. I go to their events. We become friends. And next thing I know, they're looking for an IT company. Their current IT company was changing strategy, and they needed to find a new one. So we were their first thought. So already having that sort of trust in place, which is extremely important, especially in the IT world, as you all know, working for the MSP Association or with the MSP Association. Trust is a huge factor because people don't understand MSP and IT the way that they do buying a car even, or something that is more commoditized or easier for people to understand. IT and cybersecurity is very complex, even more so than who I thought I knew what I was getting into, but it turns out it's way more complex than even I had foreseen. So all that is to say that trust is truly the most important thing. And when people are trusting you with keeping their business online and secure, and they don't really understand how you do it, they really have to understand that you have their back. And the SFMA did, and they signed up with us recently, and that has led to other manufacturers coming on board with us as well.
Give us an example of how you can kind of like do this dance with a prospective client. When you say that this is a big trust relationship, that's for sure. But a lot of companies don't understand the complexity that goes into running, a well-oiled company on technology. Have you had to do a turnaround with them, a transformation where they were skeptical of why they needed to outsource and why they needed such a relationship with their tech provider, and now they're big proponent of yours?
Yes, we have. This is, I can't necessarily name all of these companies, but we do have a not for profit here in South Florida who came to us and was paying a much lower rate than what we quoted, for instance. But they weren't getting what we would think of as sufficient service and security. And it looked to me like the current MSP at the time had signed them up years ago and was continuing to collect the check from them, but didn't want to rock the boat and let them know that in order to truly modernize and secure their company, they really needed to start paying more. So they never had that conversation with the customer. So when the contract came up and the customer came around, and we did already have somewhat of a relationship with these people, so there was at least a little bit of trust there to begin with. And when we met with these people and our rate was much higher, we really had to explain to them in granular terms, here's what we're doing and what they're not doing. And I'm sure they understood some of it. Some of it is very difficult. If you're not in IT, you might not understand what a 24/7 secure operations center does for you, or things like that, endpoint detection and response. But the amount of detail that we were able to give them about what we were going to do, and the relationship building that we had already done with them, led them in the end to sign with us. And now several months later, they are extremely happy with us and tell us that all the time.
And what is it that they appreciate now that they didn't expect to appreciate early on?
They appreciate that we are incredibly responsive to them. They were used to having to send an email to open a ticket and wait for a response, and sometimes have to follow up. Again, I don't think that this previous IT company was really paying as much attention as they should have, or giving them the care that they should have, and that's probably had something to do with why they weren't charging more. But basically, when they call our help desk and our technicians answer the phone and solve their issues right there on the phone, or they never have to follow up with us. These are the things that customers who sign up with us seem surprised by. So I think that's something that we do better than other companies. Just straight up responsiveness, getting back to you and making sure you never have to follow up with us. And one of the ways that we do that is we have a company meeting every single morning, a stand-up meeting where we go over all outstanding customer issues, open tickets, and even I, as the relationship manager, I'm on that call, even though I'm not in the technical team. And we go through everything that is outstanding for customers to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So that's our commitment to our customers, and that's something that they have given us feedback on that they really appreciate and are overwhelmed by.
Hmm. Yeah, this is how you're bringing some tangible feelings to that relationship concept. Like, you are in the meetings on their behalf. You don't need to be technical because your clients are non-technical. They're not for profit or manufacturing. They got their own stream of expertise, but you're there listening to whatever chatter there's coming from the client so that you can speak on their behalf.
Yeah, that is a great way to encapsulate it. I am the liaison. I am in the middle of the table between the company and the customer. Although they deal directly with our techs, again, if they need something, they call. Our techs pick up the phone in real time and help them out. But it is my job to represent the customer in company meetings as well as to represent the company in customer meetings. So yes, I am that go-between. Sometimes that means I'm a translator. Several customers have
Hmm.
referred to me as the translator. Um, Occasionally I have to put the technical people, the engineers, on calls with the prospects or customers, and they will tend to use some technical jargon or some acronyms sometimes, and I'll have to slow them down and break those out for the customer. So yes, that
Hmm.
is exactly what I do, and that's exactly why I'm the relationship manager.
Very cool. So you mentioned manufacturers. Is that the industry that you like working in the most in Florida?
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to slight our other industries that we work in, but it's one of the ones I like the most. A lot of our customers are not for profits. We have some interior designers, and then we have several manufacturers as well. We also have a few law firms and some medical companies, well, senior living facilities, I should say.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, because we know those and we have history with those types of companies. Um, we do tend to find more of those and be ready to ramp up quickly because we understand their language, we understand their processes, and something else with manufacturers is they there are security requirements for them, especially if they do business with the government and especially if it's with the Department of Defense, that are changing quickly now. And these manufacturers that supply to the Department of Defense are required to meet a much higher level of compliance. And that is something that we are experts in as well. Our CISO is a compliance guru. And so that is something that we can offer as well, getting these manufacturers ready to go through, the audit and get prepared to meet these new regulations that they have to meet.
You're talking CMMC.
That's the one. You know it.
Yeah. Sweet. And I love talking CMMC because I see this as a business enablement program. Like you get compliant with CMMC, you now have the ability to bid on much more valuable contracts. So this is a great way to talk with your clients about it because this is not like a penalty or a fine or a cost to the business. This is an investment to be able to increase your revenue.
Yeah, you said that absolutely perfectly. So we have a couple of customers we're working with who are already doing business with prime contractors of the DoD, and so they are required to get up to these standards by this year, and that is one type of journey. And then we have other customers who, exactly as you just said, they want to sort of move up the chain and be able to do business more directly with those prime contractors, and so they are making the investment, so in some cases more of a phased strategy to get there, upgrade their infrastructure, their security, and get to a place where they can meet those requirements so that they can move up the food chain, so to speak, and be a tier two or maybe even tier one provider to the DoD.
Nice. What's the biggest success story you've heard there, where pre and post compliance business transformation with one of your clients?
Well, we're still actually going through those. That the 2025 is the year that this is going into effect. So I don't think I've had enough time to really see the results and evaluate them. But I can tell you that we had one customer who came to us who had already run afoul of some of these issues, and their previous IT company had gotten them in trouble a couple times already. And so, as from Centuric point of view, our biggest success story was that we were able to take this over, rebuild this infrastructure, and get this company compliant and back to doing business.
Nice. Well, that's an important one. Like keeping them on the road, because even maintaining current business is an important requirement to stave off any existential issues that they would have. Because if they run afoul of compliance, they start losing contracts. That's much worse than missed opportunity because now they're shrinking.
Right, and this had already happened with this company. So yeah,
Right.
so it was a big success story for us, and it was a tremendous amount of work to get them back in business as quickly as possible. But we did it great, and they're back to humming.
Fantastic. Well, Jeb, thanks for coming on the show. You can find out more about Jeb and Centuric at www.centuric.com. The link's there on the screen. Jeb Reynolds, relationship manager from Centuric, tuning in from sunshiny Florida. Thanks so much for being on the show, Jeb. We're going to put your links and LinkedIn stuff in the comments here so everyone can connect with you. Really appreciate you coming on the show and telling us your story.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good day.
Right on, Jeb.